Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
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 Om Surabhyay Namaha
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 Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim Yat kripatamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam Yat kripatamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Welcome to our Bhagavatam class. We continue reading from Canto number 1, chapter 1, entitled Questions by the Sages. And yesterday we covered text 15 and 16. So today we are beginning text number 17. Tasya karmani udarani parigitani suribihi bruhi naha sraddhananam Lilaya dadhataha kalaha tasya karmanyudarani parigitani suribihi bruhina sraddhananam Lilaya dadhata kalaha tasya karmanyudarani parigitani suribihi bruhina sraddhananam Lilaya dadhata kalaha tasya karmanyudarani parigitani suribihi bruhina sraddhananam Lilaya tasya karmanyudarani
parigitani surabhihi bruhina sraddhananam lilaya dadhatah kala
tasya karmanyudarani parigitani suribhihi bruhinah sraddhananam lilaya dadhatah kalah
Tasya karmani udarani parigitani suribhihi bruhinah shraddhananam lilaya dadhatah kalaha
tasya his karmani transcendental acts Udarani,
Udarani,
magnanimous,
magnanimous,
Parigitani,
Parikita,
Suribihi,
Surabhi,
by the great souls,
by the great souls,
Bruhi,
Bruhi,
please speak,
please speak
Naha,
Naha,
unto us,
unto us,
Sradadhananam,
Sradhananam,
ready to receive with respect,
ready to receive with respect,
Liraya,
Lilaya,
pastimes,
pastimes,
Dadhataha,
Dadhata,
learned sages like Narada sing of them. Please, therefore, speak to us who are eager to hear about the adventures he performs in his various incarnations. Kindly repeat after me. His transcendental acts
His transcendental acts
are magnificent
are magnificent
and gracious,
and gracious,
and great learned sages
and great learned sages
like Narada
like Narada
sing of them.
sing of them.
Please, therefore,
Please therefore
speak to us
speak to us
who are eager to hear
who are eager to hear
about the adventures
about the adventures
he performs
he performs
in his various incarnations.
in his various incarnations.
Purport. The personality of Godhead is never, as some less intelligent persons suggest. His works are magnificent and magnanimous. His creations, both material and spiritual, are all wonderful and contain all variegatedness. They are described nicely by such liberty to its being full of knowledge, bliss, and eternity. The material creations are manifested for some time as perverted shadows of the spiritual kingdom and can be likened to cinemas. They attract people of less intelligent caliber. Here we are. Who are attracted by false things. Such foolish men have no information of the reality, and they take it for granted that the false material manifestation is the all in all. But more intelligent men, guided by sages like Vyasa and Narada, know that the eternal kingdom of God is more delightful, larger, and eternally full of bliss and knowledge. Those who are not conversant with the activities of the Lord and his transcendental realm are sometimes favored by the Lord in his adventures as incarnations, wherein he displays the eternal bliss, or fruitive workers, and jnanis, or dry mental speculators. But above these two classes of men is the transcendentalist known as Sattvata, or the devotee, who is busy neither with rampant material activity nor with material speculation. He is engaged in the positive service of the Lord, and thereby he derives the highest spiritual benefit unknown to the karmis and jnanis. Of both the material and spiritual worlds, the Lord has different incarnations of unlimited categories. Incarnations like Brahma, Rudra, Manu, Prithu, and Vyas are his material qualitative incarnations. But his transcendental acts, this is referring, of course, to the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, acts are magnificent and gracious, and great learned sages like Narada sing of them. Please therefore speak to us who are eager to hear about the adventures he performs in his various incarnations. Advaitam achyutam anadim anantarupam adyam purana purusham avayovanam cha vedeshu dolabam adolabam atma bhakto govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. These transcendental pastimes of the Lord that have been attracting various personalities throughout the ages remain unknown to those who are on these two levels mentioned in the purport, referred to as karmis and gyanis. In other places, Srila Prabhupada expands that also, not only to karmis and gyanis, some yogis. Bhukti mukti siddhi kami sakale ashanta. Those who are still unaware of the original identity and personality of Godhead, who are not familiar with what our acharyas reveal to us. Places in the Bhagavatam, some very important verses. So our acharyas very nicely explain. They are briefly what of Godhead. Those once we begin to understand the nature of the absolute truth as manifested in these three tattvas, then we can begin to lose our attraction and interest for the material world. You have all studied those three tattvas?
Brahma, Paramatma, Bhagavan.
That is somewhere in there, but that is not. But that is connected with the first of the tattvas. The first tattva actually is that Godhead, He is Ishvara. He is Ishvara, and the Bhagavatam is that unique literature that explains in detail, that explains the complete nature of that Ishvara. And in our different situations in the material world, if somebody is a president of a company, he's the Ishvara of that company. If somebody is in charge of a mat, likewise. And traditionally, it was, if anyone is in charge of family, he is also Ishvara. He is known as Swami, actually. Swami Sri. Much less popular concept in modern day society. That's a whole topic in itself. So the tattva of Ishvara, as nicely elaborated, and this is one of the topics that Hare Krishna, one of the topics that Sutta Goswami will be nicely speaking about. Move your head a little bit this way. I see only one eye. If you move your body, you won't have to. Then you won't be able to bring back your head. So Isvara Tattva, and one other level of reality or understanding is that the Supreme Lord not only is he Ishvara, but he is also known as Shaktiman. Shaktiman means a source, energy or power in the material nature. And those who are fortunate will, like Einstein, will admit that the more I delve into science, the more I can appreciate that there must be a creator to this material world. Yeah. So the third tattva that Prabhupada refers to in the purport, and that is what again, those who are extremely fortunate, if they come in contact either direct pastimes or through those who are connected with the Lord's pastimes. So that third tattva is referred to as Rasa Samudra. Rasa Samudra. He is an ocean of transcendental mellows that bring transcendental bliss and happiness, because no one can live without rasa. Prabhupada explains, rasa actually it is our constitutional right. Actually, rasa, the basis of rasa is happiness. Everyone is seeking happiness. And due to our poor fund of knowledge, due to not knowing about the superior rasa, the transcendental, that the Lord, since time immemorial, appearing, has been manifest for the primary purpose of attracting us, for bringing our attention to something that is beyond this material world. Just like during the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, so many fortunate souls came in direct contact actually with Lord Chaitanya. Of course, not everyone, like Krishna also, so many people came in contact with Krishna, but Srila Prabhupada explains only a handful or very few people actually could understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality. So Prabhupada mentions but a few of these great personalities, like Narada Muni, like Vyas, and makes a simple, let's say, gives a basic difference. Otherwise, lost and suffering living entities in the material world. And Prabhupada would explain that how fortunate we are that two such main incarnations, actually their incarnation is referred to as avatar, but we know that Lord Krishna, although he descends in the material world, he is not avatar. He is avatari, the source of all the avatars, the source of all incarnations. So that is in the context of eternity and in the context even of one day of Lord Brahma. That is like yesterday that Lord Krishna appeared, and then of course Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So since time immemorial, the especially those who are dedicated to cultivating spiritual life, like these sages in Naimisharanya, their main activity, their main interest, their main preoccupation, and that is actually meant to be also, that's very nicely explained by Narada Muni when he, in another context, are fortunate to come in contact with these topics as we are doing today. They Hare Krishna. They come together. It's okay. Not okay, but what to do? They are eager to hear these different presentations and descriptions that are given, especially by these highly learned and self-realized souls. What it means actually is that the more we can understand how by minimizing our material activities in the material world and by arranging our lives in such a way that we can find more time or maximum time. That's why the Vedic culture is arranged in such a way that, because sometimes people, they will criticize people from India, people from this Vedic culture. They were not very enthusiastic to develop things. Actually, it is true. In the Vedic culture, one is less anxious to develop material things over and above what is necessary, let's say, for our basic necessities of life. Because the real interest in life for those who are of the, we call Arya culture, Kurukshetra, and he calls them a non-Aryan. Yeah. So Arya culture, the specific characteristic is that those people are less interested in so-called material development. Not that they are neglectful, but they have understood that more important than so-called economic development is spiritual development. That is the focus. That is the because no amount of so-called economic development can bring us the kind of happiness we are seeking, isn't it? The kind of happiness we are seeking, again mentioned in the purport, is of a different nature. Speaking and to Swami, we can see by these very nice prayers that they are making how they are we could say real devotees, in that they are already having some very nice understanding. Sridhar Swami, glorified and known as the foremost our line, our parampara, our Guru parampara, its special feature has been the presentation of the Srimad Bhagavatam to humanity, because the subject matter is within the Bhagavatam. Any thoughts or comments? Yes, Mataji. Somebody can translate.
చెప్పండి
ఇప్పుడు మాతాజీ వాళ్ళు సేవ అంటే జపం చేయడం ముఖ్యమా లేకుంటే మేము ఇలా సేవలు చేస్తాం కదా భగవంతుడికి అది ముఖ్యమా?
She's asking that for Mataji's doing japa is more important or doing seva for the husband, children, or
What is more important for Mataji's, doing japa or doing different kinds of seva or service at home
especially for the husband, children?
for the husband and children? Well, this one small example should address or answer the question. When Srila Prabhupada was Angeles, one of our main temples in America, and then one of our main temples where they have very elaborate deity worship. So naturally the different devotees are engaged in deity worship. There was one Mataji who was very much attached to doing deity worship, and she was very good at it also. Very important to look after your baby than to do deity worship. Deity worship is more important. That doesn't mean that we stop chanting Hare Krishna. The chanting of the holy name, Srila Prabhupada has adjusted so that all of us, if we learn to manage our time properly, we can chant 16 rounds. So it doesn't mean that, because Srila Prabhupada has explained this, especially Mataji's, their primary responsibility as both wife and mother. Vedic culture gives especially emphasis on these two activities. In householder life, the wife, she is or the woman at home, she is both mother for the children and a wife for the husband. At the same time, she also has some spiritual duties and responsibilities, such as for those who are initiated, chanting the prescribed number of rounds. So all of us actually, whether we are in householder life or not in householder life, we have to learn how to balance these two responsibilities. Some material things to do every day. Of course, when we dovetail those activities in Krishna service, they become spiritualized and are no longer just ordinary material activities, and are purely spiritual activities like chanting, like attending Bhagavatam class. It is a question of managing one's time so that one can render the needed service to the family members, and also one should perform one's prescribed duties as an initiated devotee, especially in the matter of chanting. Yeah. Yes? Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
అర్థం కాదు.
Yeah. Sometimes in the past, devotees would give as an excuse that we have so much service, and of course, especially when someone lives in a temple, there's generally a lot of service to be done. But still, Prabhupada expected and instructed that we cannot neglect some of the basic activities, such as rising early in the morning, attending Bhagavatam class. I think we were in one purport that we read recently, Prabhupada is explaining, it is more important to hear the Bhagavatam or to speak the Bhagavatam than it is to read. More important to hear the Bhagavatam or to speak the Bhagavatam than to be some other place when the Bhagavatam class is going on and reading. Yeah. That doesn't mean reading is not important. But, yes.
Speaking is also important.
Yes, that was in the purport, I think maybe just 1 or 2 days before you arrived, where it was, Srila Prabhupada was explaining in the purport that both those who hear attentively the Bhagavatam, in other words, both the hearer and the speaker, both have that great opportunity of receiving the benefit by coming in contact with the Bhagavatam. Yeah. So the benefit is there for both the speaker and those who are hearing the Bhagavatam. Yeah. One time Prabhupada actually wrote, because one similar question was there, that what is more important, to chant or to do service or to attend Bhagavatam class or to take care of one's health. Prabhupada actually wrote on the paper, I think it was printed somewhere, the Prabhupada gave an order beginning with health. One has to maintain one's health properly, otherwise we can't do service, we can't chant, we can't sit consciously sit in a Bhagavatam class if we are ill. Yeah. Anything else? Yes.
Ji, when I chant the holy name of Krishna, then in my mind many opinions are coming, many plans are coming.
Yes, so you have to read the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita and become, what is it, echo something, one-minded, one-pointed.
Sthit pragya.
Huh?
Sthit pragya. Sthit pragya.
Chit.
Sthit.
Sthita prajna.
Oh, okay.
Sthita prajna.
Anyways, go ahead. What is your question?
So at that time, Maharaj, we cannot chant very seriously our chanting.
That is, you are the only one who can switch from non-serious to serious. Means it is up to you to become more determined in not allowing your mind to be wandering, and that means taking the various necessary precautions that there will be better chances for you to be more concentrated on your chanting by having sufficiently rested, for example, the previous evening, avoiding to take rest very late, by maintaining good health, and by chanting. Ideal time to chant is in the company of devotees in the morning. So there are different ways by which we can facilitate that our meditation when we chant will be more favorable. But regardless of the time of day we chant, the natural tendency of a mind that is still uncontrolled will be to deviate in so many ways. But Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, whenever we notice the mind in this way deviating, we bring back the mind on the chanting, on the transcendental sound vibration. So it is not at all uncommon that one's mind, we see more clearly the nature of our mind when we start chanting japa.